Honourable members, shall we pray? Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, classes shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, let's turn to item 5. Item 5, correction of votes and proceedings, and that of official report. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, following the communication leadership received from the outfit of the table office, may I seek your leave for us to vary order of business and rather proceed to start with public business and start off with item.
But Honourable Head, hold on a bit. Is that the case that we don't have the votes and proceedings?
It is the case.
Oh, okay. But
there may be few copies, but they will bear me out that was a communication
yes,
received.
Okay.
And hence, the agreement was that we'll vary order of business.
I could see members are holding some, so we can proceed on the normal.
Okay, Speaker.
Thank you very much. So, honourable members, item 5. Item 5, votes and proceedings, and that of the official report. We start with votes and proceedings from page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page number 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page number 11. Page page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page number 17, page 18, and finally page 19. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 20th June 2024 is hereby adopted as the true records of proceedings. Honorable members, I have in my hands the official report of 14th March 2024 edition. Official report of 14th March 2024 edition. And I take it again, the official report of 14th March 2024 edition. Yes, Honorable Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Column 7. Column 7. Mr. Getting to the bottom of the column. Mr. Second Deputy Speakers. I think it's an error. So the S should be taken off to read Mr. Second Deputy Speaker. Okay. Mr. Speaker, column 7. Come to the last sentence. Mr. Second Deputy Speakers, instead of Speaker.
Yes. Kindly take note of it. Yes, Honorable Member.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my mic is down behind there.
No problem.
Me to use. I'm Kuma, Joseph Kwame Kuma.
Very well.
Yes, the official report, Mr. Speaker, page 45, item 2.1.
Is it page or column?
Okay. Yeah, I have on the top, page 45.
Come again.
Column 45.
Column 45, yes.
Item 2.1.
Item
2.1.
2.1. So that will be item 40, column 46.
On deliberation. Mr. Speaker, just a name I want to correct or maybe bring to your attention. If that's how the fellow spells his Idrisu, so that we'll look at it. Because I know Idrisu is IDDRISU and not IDDRUSU.
Well. So, table, kindly take note of the correction. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of 14 May 2024 edition is hereby adopted as the true records of proceedings. Yes, Honorable Member for Ho Central.
Mr. Speaker, I thought you wanted to say official report, not votes and proceedings.
Did I say votes and proceedings?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you very much. So, table, take note of that. Honorable members, before we proceed, kindly indulge me to acknowledge our children who have found their way into the chamber to come and witness what their representatives are doing here. So, the schools are Services Basic School, Services Basic School, and they are being led by Daniel Amoble, who is a teacher, and the school is located at Takoradi constituency. And I could see the minister, I didn't even ask, he's already up on his feet. Yes. So, you've seen your member of parliament, who is the minister for Western Region.
And I'm alma mater. That's my school.
You are alma mater of the school?
Yes.
Wonderful.
That's the school that took me to Franceville.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Then I believe you host them well here.
Yes. Yes.
Very well. Thank you. So you may resume your seat. Then the second school is Udumse DA Basic School. Udumse DA Basic School. They are being led by Anthony Hope Ahedo, who is an assistant head teacher, and the school is located at Shai Osudoku constituency. Shai Osudoku constituency. Is the member here? Yes. Incidentally, your member is not here. So you are all welcome. This is your own house. You are representatives. So look carefully what we are doing here. And I believe that will motivate you to go and learn. So that tomorrow, if you are not here, you will also come and take over from us. You are welcome. You may resume your seat. Honorable members, let me bring to your attention this sad news about the passing away of Mr. Godfred Opoku, who is a member of our media team working in Parliament. Specifically, he is a cameraman. He was called to eternity on Wednesday, 2024. I just want to bring this to your attention because it's part of us. And on that note, on behalf of the Speaker and the leadership of the House, would like to wish the family and the team that is working with our deepest condolences. We pray that God will grant his soul a perfect rest. Thank you. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, ordinarily I shouldn't come once you are recognizing Godfred Opoku, but for many of us in this House and the parliamentary press, he was popularly known as Hands of God. So the hands of God today is in the hands of the bosom of his Lord. I thought that if you added that for the record of the Hansard, that would be useful. Godfred Opoku, who was popularly known as Hands of God, and I'm sure he's one of the few who have religiously served this House and the parliamentary press. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader. Yes, Oli, does you want to say something about it?
Speaker, just to corroborate the observations you made, I know him from a distance. He's not somebody I would call a friend, but he was a very warm person, very quiet. When I heard the news today, I was curious. So I inquired further, and his picture was shown to me, and when I was rudely struck. As a speaker, I informed the leadership of the press corps that they should do an official correspondence, which was same was ferried to you. So our hearts go out there to the family, the all loved ones, and particularly the team, the media team. Deep, deep condolence, and leadership as far as the entire house would want to do everything within our power to support, especially in this difficult time, as our colleague, our friend also transitioned. So I just express condolence to the entire team. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Kwame Buja.
Mr. Speaker, it's indeed a very sad news. The Parliamentary Press Corps works hand in hand with Parliament. The only reason the people of Adaklu know today what is happening in Parliament is because of the work they do. So they are an integral part of what we do, and it's sad to hear of the passing of, I would say, somebody who works with us here. And I join my colleagues in saying our condolences to the immediate family, the press corps, and Parliament as a whole. And as you said, we pray to God to give him a peaceful rest. And we hope that when arrangements are made for his burial, we all would be there to pay our respect. Once again, condolences to him. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Yes, leadership. Any indication as to which direction we are going?
Speaker, let me seek your leave for us to vary order of business and proceed to take public business. Moving on to page 18 of today's order paper and take item listed 29.
Well. Honorable members, let me invite you to page 18. Page 18, item listed 29. Page 18, item listed 29. You see, Honorable Samsahi, last 3 days, your leader said something, and for me it's profound. Today, the mood of the House is perfect. So, this issue of quorum will never come. He says, quorum will always be determined by the mood of the House. And today, the mood of the House is good. It's perfect.
That is not in the
Mr. Speaker, I can see that you are in a different mood. Because my mood is different from what you are describing. I can see from even the majority children's face that he is calling for adjournment of the House because of the bad mood that we face this morning. Mr. Speaker, look at the numbers.
Don't worry.
But, huh?
He's drawing attention to
I can say.
You let me conclude.
Thank you very much. So page 29. May I kindly invite the chairman of the committee to move the motion.
Thank you, Mrs.
Hold on. Chairman, do you have the reports?
Yes.
Have you distributed the reports to members?
Yes, we distributed the reports yesterday. Yes, we distributed the reports yesterday. Yeah, I have one. Yesterday you were giving one. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr.
I don't
Speaker,
even have a
I
copy.
rise to move motion number 29 on the order paper of today, page 18, that this Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Education on the determination of the agency of the National Service Bill 2020. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move. Mr. Speaker, I would like to present your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, the object of the bill is to establish the National Service Authority as a body corporate with the requisite legal capacity to develop and implement policies and programs for national service. The bill also provides the collaboration between relevant institutions to create a safety net for graduates who successfully complete their mandatory national service. Mr. Speaker, it is observable that the scheme is facing challenges under the existing Act. Notable among them are modern national service has resulted in the production of some practices, including metal fabrication, construction, farming, borehole drilling, and catering services, etc. These require the scheme to acquire lands and enter into contracts and other related transactions. However, because the scheme is not a body corporate, it lacks the requisite capacity to do so. It is therefore imperative to establish the national service as a body corporate, hence the introduction of the National Service Authority Bill. Mr. Speaker, the committee was informed that currently GetFund wants to sign a borehole drilling contract with the scheme. Furthermore, the Gambia wants to sign a contract with the scheme under the World Bank project for the development of national service personnel with training in pedagogy and teach in the Gambia. But because they don't have that corporate capacity, they cannot enter into such agreements. The scheme is currently working on a large tract of land, supposedly acquired in the name of the scheme. Due to lack of capacity of the scheme, these enviable opportunities are evading the scheme. For example, there is difficulty in registering the land in the name of the scheme, resulting in the encroachment of some of these lands. Unfortunately, the scheme does not have the requisite capacity to institute legal action against these encroachers. Again, some contractual opportunities await the scheme up to September 2024. Hence, the need to consider the bill under a certificate of urgency, since these contracts are time-bound. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, having regard to the current status of the National Service Scheme under the existing Acts and comprehensively analyzing the object of the bill, the committee realized that there are opportunities to be derived if this bill is urgently passed into law, the committee concludes and recommends that the National Service Authority Bill 2024 be taken under a certificate of urgency. I so move. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
And I would like the table of it to capture the entirety of the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Yes, Honorable Member for Tamale South would like to second.
Speaker, I'd like to, maybe I should allow the ranking to second. I have a matter to raise.
Okay, then, leader.
Which is
let's allow the ranking to second, then I'll come to you.
And then I can make my comment.
Yes, Honorable Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
Well. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. It is now before the House. Let me now invite Honorable Member for Tamale South to speak.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. May I refer you to the opening page, report of the Committee on Education on then it reads, determination of the agency or otherwise. I have problems with the use of the word or otherwise. It should just be determination of the agency of the National Service Authority Bill. We need to be elegant with language. When you say otherwise means a lot. What is otherwise? Then, Mr. Speaker, 2, the National Service Authority Bill 2024, and then for learners, whenever a bill is introduced in this House, it's in pursuant of Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution. For those of us who are learners, the first thing you do is to find out whether it's been gazetted or not. And for them to offer an explanation why it has not been gazetted, I'm sure the chairman has provided the explanation. So that is what invites us to agency. Then, Mr. Speaker, may I with respect now refer you to Article 106.13 of the 1992 Constitution, and I'll rest the matter there so that we are guided in future. So, Mr. Speaker, 106 says the power of Parliament to make laws shall be exercised by bills passed by Parliament and assented to by the President. For emphasis, 106.2, no bill other than such a bill as is referred to in paragraph A of this article, that's 108 financial matters, shall be, and it emphasizes A and B, Hansard to capture the A and B. So, explanatory memoranda, and it's been gazetted. So, Mr. Speaker, when you come to 106.13, it reads, where it is determined by a committee of Parliament appointed for the purpose that a particular bill is of an urgent nature, such as this National Service Bill. So we are varying the provisions of Article 13 so that it doesn't have to. Article 106 subclause 13, we are saying that exempt this bill from clause 1 and paragraph A of clause 2. That is it. But Mr. Speaker, national service, the stakeholders, who are they? The universities are stakeholders. The polytechnics are stakeholders. Young people who are entering the university and will naturally come out of school are stakeholders. When you subject the bill as we want to, under Article 106, I have no problem with what you are doing. But Minister for Education, when you are coming to this House, come with adequate, satisfactory explanation that you have consulted the stakeholders. This is not a matter, Mr. Speaker. The reason why memorandum must be gazetted and published in accordance with the 1992 Constitution is to remind Parliament that lawmaking is not your exclusive preserve. That in making laws, we owe it a duty to the Ghanaian people to consult them on how they feel about the law and what the effect and consequences of the law will be on them. So our national service personnel, potential national service personnel, if we don't consult, we may get some things wrong. So I support the motion, but I'm reminding the Honorable Minister for Education that not just your explanatory memorandum, we need you to tell this House, convince us that yes, take it through certificate of urgency. Because, Mr. Speaker, I know the leader is in a haste to dance. I'll yield the floor to you. Because you will subject this bill maybe through a day's process, and it is law. Where is the consultation with stakeholders, including the universities and the polytechnics? What inputs do they have to make to this law? When we do so, that opportunity is often denied. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support the motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Majority.
Speaker, let me speak in support of the motion. And I know, growing up as a young man, national service has been so important to all of us. I mean, when we were at school, we were all hoping that we graduate to do our national service and take other public service. And hence, if you look at the inception of the concept, from that year up to now, it's a bit of laxity on our part as a country that this is the time that we are coming up with this bill. Looking at the object of the bill in wake. So that, if I'm not being overly simplistic, it's just to make it a body corporate. Then it will carry with it or clothed with the necessary legal powers. So one will ask, why all these while? So let me commend the chair and the ministry for thinking through. I know Dr. Baumia has been talking about this. I know he's spoken about it a number of times. So it is refreshing that it's been given flesh and is finding meaning and expression in a legislation. Speaker, the absence of the corporate nature of the national service concept. Speaker, I don't know why my colleagues do not want to hear Dr. Baumia's name. Why? This morning is, I don't want to raise the temperature. So, it's the absence of the corporate nature of the concept of national service, Speaker, has been limiting the national services scheme, because then instances of partnership, important partnerships have been lacking. So, Speaker, my concluding words will be that I'm happy the former leader is walking away. I'm happy the former leader is in full support and he has given his full blessing. The ranking and the entire team have supported it. So I speak in support, and let's do what we have to do to clothe the national service scheme with the necessary legal powers in pursuit of its fundamental functions. Thank you for this space.
Yes, my brother.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm apt to contribute as a member of the Education Committee. To add to what my chairman mentioned, it is coming under this certificate of urgency, inclusive what he said, is the issue of them to be able to do away with the Act 246, which among others indicate that we're supposed to be having training of service personnel at the military base. Actually, they should have 6 months training by the former act if this one is accepted, which we are not able to implement. So our inability to implement the Act 246 completely. Also call for this certificate of agency for this so that we can do that. The National Service for now is also training personnel in this borehole drilling, as he said, and also farm implement operations, tractor service, bulldozer services on their farms. And they are training those with agri courses, bias courses. When they come out after the year of service, having experienced machinery operations, metal fabrications, and other things, when they come out, National Service is not able to track them and to let industry have them employed. But if we are able to approve of this under certificate of agency, just this September, those National Service who will be ending this year, and they have had the maximum training on their farms, they will be able to offload them to industry to continue to reduce the unemployment rate. Mr. Speaker, the last thing I will say about is that not less than 20,000 acreages, and are they acquiring in many places? I feel if we do this, and National Service has a stand alone as an organization to be able to enter into contractual issues, the nation stands to benefit. And so that the teeming youth who come out after National Service, and if there's no voluntary service for them to continue, then they become jobless, and we can imagine the joblessness in the system if now we are talking of unemployment rate being up to 14%. We will not be doing any good thing to the youth of the nation. So among other things, these are some of the reasons why I feel we should take it under certificate of agency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Leader, I'll come to you for the conclusion. Yes, I will surely. Oh, okay. You see, this is not trade. This is not trade. Yes. Anyway, I'll give you the opportunity. You talk.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful, even though today I'm not a very happy person. The reports from the committee, I think, is appropriate, but to the extent that we are asking to take this bill under agency, I have my reservations. Mr. Speaker, National Service, I agree, is involved in an activity that it's not supposed to be doing. National Service behaves as if it's a commercial entity. It's into farming. It's into so many things. And so if you want to regularize its activities and have a legal backing to what they are doing today that can be described as illegal, I do not have a problem with that. But, Mr. Speaker, we have very important bills, very, very important bills, such as the affirmative action bill, that one would have been saying that should be taken under certificate of agency. We're not doing it. But we are now talking about something that, in my opinion, can wait. Wise will deal with these ones that go to the core of human and to the core of women development. So, Mr. Speaker, I do not think, in my candid opinion, that this bill should be taken under certificate of agency. And I do believe that my colleagues on this side, reason would be. And so if it would mean even putting this into a vote, so be it. In any case, this is a major decision that we are going to take. Do we have the numbers to take a major decision such as what we are doing? We are talking about a bill, a very important bill, that has to do with education. Mr. Speaker, let me draw your attention. Today as we speak, WAEC is complaining that they do not even have money to conduct BEC exams. That is what should we should pay attention to. We don't see that to be agents, and we don't see that as an issue that we should address immediately. What we are talking about is taking national service bill and the certificate of agency. When in natural fact, this country, BEC is to be written very soon, and WAEC is unable to raise money to do it, and nobody is talking about that. I think that the minister should be interested in raising money for WAEC to be able to conduct BEC exams for our children, rather than coming here to rush through this document when we have very, very pertinent issues to address. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader.
I'm sorry, if you may endure me, on the matter of releasing to WAEC, Chief Whip will bear me out. When this morning we came to the chamber, the ranking member raised it, and I have details of it here. No, you are not listening. Please come. He raised issues about releasing to WAEC for the conduct of exams. And the ranking member, the respected ranking member, gave me copies. So myself and the Chief Whip, we followed up and we spoke to the Minister of State, Honorable Abner Osai. Chief got back to the ministry, did all the checks, and confirmed that indeed they have made significant release. Significant. Well, please, listen to me. So we are told, Speaker, we are told an amount of 80 million has been released. So please, my colleague can make all his point, but he should stay clear of that. The matter has been dealt with.
Leader, hold on. I mean, let him listen to one or two, then I come to leadership. Yes, Honorable Fede.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak to the motion, but I want to raise a legal issue. Mr. Speaker, I'm referring to Section 100 of the Public Financial Management Act of 2016 at 921. And I read, Mr. Speaker, any legislation to be laid before Parliament or proposal submitted for the approval of Parliament shall be accompanied by a fiscal impact analysis stating the estimated effect on revenue and expenditure for the financial year in which the legislation or proposal is expected to come into effect. So, Speaker, I'm not sure that this bill, which is now being proposed to be taken under a certificate of agency, has a fiscal impact analysis accompanying the bill. So, Speaker, this is an act that we pass in this House. And if the bill is not accompanied by any fiscal impact analysis, while we don't know the impact of revenue and expenditure, if this bill comes into effect, then we are doing the wrong thing. I'm drawing your attention as a speaker who is chairing the affairs of this House that we are violating our own law. But if there is a fiscal impact analysis, they should let us know. But if we don't have it, then they should take the bill back, go and bring the fiscal impact analysis. Let's analyze it to see the effect of this on the revenue and expenditure of this country. Then we can go ahead. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader, you just want to respond to,
Mr. Speaker,
and you will come back.
A matter of point of law that.
Because I was thinking you hold on so that when you are cruising it, then you address all those areas.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not making a contribution. My good friend, the Majority Chief Whip, in explaining whether monies have been released for this year's BEC, said that myself and others were here when our colleague, the minister responsible for finance, verbally told us that she has worked on some money to be released in 2 tranches to WAEC. What I heard her saying, without any evidence, was that some monies were paid to WAEC yesterday, and some will be paid today, and it's about 40 million. The point of the ranking was that on this paper that he gave a copy, he gave the 2 of us a copy, what is owed WAEC for BEC is 93 million Ghana cedis. So if you pay even 40 million, you are just almost halfway. So I am not aware he said 80 million. If they paid him 80 million, fine, because I saw her insisting we paid 40-something million and it's the total amount of money. So what they are supposed to receive is 93 million. So I just want to put it on record that I am not aware that all the monies owed WAEC have been paid. I'm not aware of that one.
I'm taking one and
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, what is before us is a report from the committee determining the agency or otherwise of this bill. Now, Mr. Speaker, if I read through this report, I don't see any justification for us to take this under a certificate of agency. I don't see the justification. We all realize that we need to look at the National Service Bill again, and all the importance of all that is something that everybody is aware of. But what is the need for us to speed up the process and to circumvent all the laid out processes that need to be followed? I don't see that. So you see, Mr. Speaker, we need to take our time in making bills to make sure that we've done a good job. As we speak now, we need to ensure that stakeholders' inputs are sought into this so that when the bill comes out, it can meet the test of time. But if we don't have any reason to rush through the bill, and we are just doing it because the sponsors of the bill are requesting that we take it under a certificate of agency, I don't think we are doing ourselves any good. So I want to appeal to all of us, let us take our time, take the bill through all the processes, and make sure that the final work is something that is good, that will meet the test of time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
yes, Honorable Member for Asante Achim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have in my hand a report of the Committee on Education on the determination of the agency or otherwise of the National Service Authority Bill. Mr. Speaker, I beg to differ from what the last speaker has said. I rather see a lot of issues that have been raised, and I'll draw my friend's attention to page 2 and 3 of the report. Mr. Speaker, this is the observations that the committee has made. The report is emanating from the bill that was submitted and referred to the committee, and the committee sat. And these are the observations that they have made. For lack of time, I will not go through them, otherwise I would have read. But 6.1 says, the importance of national service to the nation. National service, nobody can deny, is important. It affects every home. Each and every up-and-coming graduate would go through national service. Then they talk about the challenges, the lack of corporate status. We are being told that people are encroaching on the lands and other properties of the National Service Scheme, and they can't litigate over that. So there is an important. Then there is also the strategic partnership that they have with other bodies. And if the committee has submitted a report unanimously that this must be treated under certificate of agency, I plead with the House that let's oblige them. A colleague raised a point about whether the fiscal impact analysis had been attached. And this is very important. But I employed The moment the committee we agree that is be taken under the certificate of emergency, we are not doing it now. The committee is retracting, and then would invite them and give them all these reports, including the fiscal impact analysis. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the point that this is very urgent, and we must support the committee that this bill be taken under certificate of emergency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, leadership. Leadership. Oh, Kwame, you've already spoken, so let me yield it to you. Ranking seconded the motion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this. The motion for the adoption of the report of the committee to determine whether this bill should be taken through a certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, my understanding of this exercise is to just avoid the full length of gazetting of the bill. It is not to say that we are supposed to ignore all the necessary steps that we needed to take to craft a proper bill. So this exercise should not lead to us rushing the bill through in a day or something like that. And that should also take into account the point made by Honorable Haruna that stakeholders needed to be consulted, and I'm sure that that should be taken into account. Mr. Speaker, what I'm not sure about is some of the reasons for this. First of all, Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest challenges facing National Service Secretariat is lack of funds to pay people who are actually doing national service. Which part of this bill is going to make money available to National Service Secretariat? This bill is not intending to increase the National Service allowance. It is not intending to put any money aside for payment of National Service allowance, cleared arrears. So this is an exercise in futility on that count. Two, that they have acquired land, 20,000 acres, and they are unable to register it. And the Ministry of Finance asked them to register it in their name. Is Ministry of Finance in Ghana or Ministry of Finance in Togo? So the land is still in the possession of the state. So it's not land that is missing. Encroachment, even Parliament land is being encroached on somewhere else. So crafting a law will not stop your land from being encroached. You need to take steps to protect whatever belongs to you. I agree that some partnerships they want to form require a better legal regime for the organization to work. But no details have been provided. They just said they are looking forward to have partnership with others. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure whether this is this bill, even if we pass it, actually makes National Service Authority, whatever you want to call it, so secured in many ways. I just hope this is not another thing we create like what we were forced to do not a few years ago. Let's create development authorities. Mr. Speaker, we said it was a useless effort because what the regional coordinating councils need, what the district assemblies need is money. Today, the state owes common fund billions of cedis. And then when we make a formula, then they say give some to the development authorities. The development authorities, coastal development authorities have gone round at that clue, saying they are building bridges, they are building schools. Mr. Speaker, even a 6-unit classroom block that was started when the coastal authority was created today is not completed. So where is the evidence that the creation of the development authorities was supposed to spur development in this country? I just hope this is not one of the needless, creation of other state institutions so that somebody will get a job as a director general. I can imagine there's somebody somewhere on the other side who is looking forward to become a big man with a big office, a big car, because he's been elevated to a National Service Authority or whatever it is, then a new Land Cruiser, a new a saloon car, a big office, and no value to the country. I'm not going to oppose this. Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't mind us taking this through the certificate of urgency. But we'll do a thorough job when we are crafting the law itself, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I reluctantly support the passage of this.
Yes, leader.
No. Mr. Speaker.
No. Leadership.
Thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to this bill. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I agree with the suggestion that we should do a thorough work at the committee level, determining the urgency of this bill is not an end in itself. Mr. Speaker, this will be aimed at clothing us with a certain jurisdiction to look at the bill, and in looking at the bill, it does not mean that consultation will not be done. So I just want members to be assured on that. Mr. Speaker, on the statutory issue by the respected former Deputy Minority Leader and the Chair of the Public Accounts Committee, I believe that the law, as you read, is very clear that it is when the bill is supposed to have a fiscal impact. It's supposed to have a fiscal impact. And if it is determined as such, then the fiscal impact analysis would accompany the bill. It is not to say that, please, respectfully, respectfully, Honorable Gluja Abeji, the point is that it is only when a bill would have a fiscal impact on the revenues of the state that requirement will be triggered. It does not mean that every bill would necessarily have to be accompanied with a fiscal impact analysis. That is the point. That is what it is. I sat down for you, please. Let me finish my argument. Let me finish my argument. Mr. Speaker, now what we have done at this point is to determine the urgency of the bill. The committee is unanimous. Mr. Speaker, I just want also to draw the attention of colleagues. Situations where a committee is entrusted with responsibility. They come by a report and they are unanimous. And we sought to critique and say that no, they are wrong. I think the convention and the practices of this House, Mr. Speaker, have been that we hold them in good faith for the work they've done. So, Mr. Speaker, the committee had the opportunity to look at all the issues, and they have come inviting us to adopt this report, which report will allow us to take it through the certificate of urgency. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't think that there should be no problem at all. This Parliament, as part of its bona fides, would have the opportunity to do scrutiny when we get to the consideration stage. In fact, the bill will now go to the committee for them to even look at further consultation, engage stakeholders, and then when it gets to the clause by clause, members will have the opportunity to offer proper views on it, so that certain amendments that are required will be taken. In fact, we are even supposed to debate the principles one more time. We would have the opportunity to discuss it. So, Mr. Speaker, nothing is amiss here. We should proceed to support the committee. Mr. Speaker, this committee has acted within the remit of their mandate. The ranking and the chair, the members, I heard them, Mr. Speaker, I heard the members of the committee who spoke, and I believe that they haven't seen what is in the bill, have come to this fair conclusion. So I shall accordingly pray that you put a question to enable us proceed. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate. But honourable member, I've given you the floor. Leader, hold on. I gave you the floor.
Yes.
If you have said something that
you said something, Mr. Speaker, what he said, he has misled the House. He misled the House. I have quoted the law, and he is trying to misinterpret the law. We can't leave this to go.
Honourable Veggie,
yes.
You quoted the law.
Yes.
He said it the way he understood it.
And that is wrong. That is
so
wrong.
Who determines what is wrong and what is right?
So, Mr. Speaker, I'm appealing to you that he says that
Honourable Veggie,
it is only when the bill.
Honourable Veggie, please. See, this matter of interpreting the law does not rest here. You said it. I heard you. You quoted the law. He said it the way he understood the law. So, you cannot say he misled the House.
He didn't say that. This is the way I understood the law. He didn't say that. He said it is only when the bill needs fiscal impact analysis that is why it will be accompanied. And that is not what the law says. The law says that any proposal, any legislation that is being brought to this House must come with fiscal impact analysis. That is what
Very
the law
well.
says.
Thank you for the correction. Now I'll put the question. Honourable members, it is not every item that all the members will be given the opportunity. Honourable Mutala, you came in late. And I listened, I invited members from the back. You came in late. After the speakers have spoken, I cannot go back. Honourable members, let him put the question.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have the quorum. Whatever we do here is illegal. We don't have the quorum. And I'm standing on order 64 of the standing orders. I'm saying that I'm standing on order 64. We don't have the quorum. Whatever we do here is illegal.
Honourable members, let him put the question. All those in favour that the motion listed 29 in today's order paper, all those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried.
Speaker, shall we proceed to page 38? Page 38, item 75 on page 38 of today's order paper. Shall we proceed? Item 73. No, we start off a procedural motion. Okay. Item 72 on page 38.
Honourable Yusuf.
Yes, because we respect you a lot, but the law must work. We have the right to raise quorum, and we are saying that we don't form quorum to take any decision, and we must be respected.
Again, you have ruled, and we are challenging your ruling. And so we are asking for head count.
We must be heard.
They cannot see us as a robbers camp. That is not a minority you are dealing with. That is not the kind of minority you are dealing with.
Of the people of Tamale Central.
And we didn't come through windows. We came through the door.
You think that your conscience can be heard? I can be
We
heard.
came through the door. He said, let's proceed. You can't proceed.
I don't care if you don't want to
You
be
cannot proceed. You must be heard.
I want to be heard.
We must be heard. You can't proceed.
It's your own cup of tea. I want
We
to be
can't
heard.
proceed. We must be heard.
You think I'm not appointed?
We are not living in a jungle. This is a law
We
house.
have to be heard. You left the committee. Mr. Speaker, this parliament, our conduct is guided by the constitution and the standing orders. And you should be the last person who should be seeking to disregard the constitution and the standing orders. We have started the process. The process is not exhausted. So, Mr. Speaker, anybody can get up and speak now, and you don't.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, today is a Friday. We intend to, as the majority whip said, we want to do light business in peaceful way. Mr. Speaker, would you, with your kind indulgence, if you can allow my colleague, one of my colleagues, just listen to him and let's see what he's going to say. So if you can allow Honorable Mrs.
Very well. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I stand on 151 to challenge your ruling. That, and then 152 to demand a head count. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, we earlier on raised the issue of quorum. And I know you are a lawyer, and I know how you've been guiding this house. I will give the respect to you. So today, we want you to amplify the position that we all accord you, that you are a true lawyer, and that the constitution of this country must work. I thank you.
So you are asking that we conduct a head count. You are challenging my ruling. But, honorable members, it does not necessarily mean that everybody sitting on this side will support it. Because at least I know some members who have spoken for the motion, and honorable members, honorable leadership, can we suspend for 10 minutes and let me have some discussion with you? So the sitting is accordingly suspended for 10 minutes. Honourable members, let me welcome you back to the chamber. Before we went on suspension, Honourable Yusuf is not here. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, if you'll be pleased, I shall pray for us to consider item 6, Mr. Speaker, and then we can come back.
Leader, I'll come back to that, but let me address what is.
Mr. Speaker, I agree that there are matters to be addressed by you. I'm not opposed to those matters being addressed by you.
You want to deal with item 6, but
that is so. So we can come back and then you deal with those items if it's open. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with respect, your committee met this morning, Friday, the 21st of June, 2024, and arranged the business of the House for the third week, ending Friday, the 28th June, 2024. Mr. Speaker, it is expected that the 44 questions as admitted by your good self be answered by the following ministers: Minister of Education, Minister of Finance, Minister of Health, Minister of Roads and Highways. Mr. Speaker, Minister of Education has 13 out of the 40 questions, Minister of Finance 11, the Health Minister 10, the Minister of Roads and Highways 10. Mr. Speaker, of the 44 questions, 2 are urgent questions, and we have 42 regular questions to be given oral answers. Mr. Speaker, under Order 91(2) of the rules of this House, you may admit statements in accordance with Order 93. These statements may come from ministers of state. Mr. Speaker, bills and papers may be presented to the House in accordance with Order 159 of the rules of this House and taken through the various stages if they are urgent bills under Order 160 of the rules of the House. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Order 97, papers may be laid during the week. Report from committees may be presented to the House for consideration. Mr. Speaker, we also propose that motions be taken and resolutions, if any, be also taken. Mr. Speaker, your committee urges all committees to expedite action on referrals they have in their possession. Mr. Speaker, there are housekeeping matters which we expect that on Wednesday we hold a committee of the whole to address these matters, including the commission for, Mr. Speaker, the boundary commission. We expect that the boundary commission appears before the committee of the whole. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with our new rules book, we expect to deal with the composition of the new committees to reflect the new committees that we've introduced in this house. Mr. Speaker, attached here too, is a 10-page document, which documents outlines each day's activity. So you have Tuesday supposed to be expected, you have Wednesday, Thursday, all the way to Friday. I want to urge colleagues who have questions advertised to pay attention so they get their questions answered. Mr. Speaker, there is an arrangement that on Tuesdays and Thursdays we sit after 3, and as a result of that, questions will receive written answers, which answers will be published for members. So that arrangement is in place. So no member will lose an opportunity to have answers to questions because of the late sitting. Mr. Speaker, we have some very important bills. The Affirmative Action Bill, the National Service Authority Bill. We also have the all-important Free SHS Bill, which has received the executive approval, and it's on its way to this house. It's on its way. Mr. Speaker, I haven't finished this business statement. I want to urge colleagues that we are all in this together. Mr. Speaker, it cannot be that my true brother, Honorable Murtala Mohammed, will look at me with a frown face. Today he is refusing a smile. That has not been the relationship. Mr. Speaker, I've withdrawn it if it is not pleased with it. Mr. Speaker, if he would terrorize everybody, he shouldn't terrorize me.
Oh, he said he's withdrawn it.
Mr. Speaker,
I'll give you the opportunity. Let him finish.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I am appealing to Honorable Yusuf. He comes from a presidential constituency. And I know that if from a presidential constituency he wants to hurt me, my true brother will not allow him to hurt me. Similarly, if today my true brother is not happy, it's your duty to calm him and not to even provoke him the more. The man is not happy, he's not in a good mood today. It's your duty to make sure that things are calm.
Leader, have we finished?
Mr. Speaker, almost.
He's writing business statement. Let him finish. I'll give you the opportunity.
No, don't call.
Oh. I'll give you the opportunity. Let him finish. Once he sit down, I'll give you the opportunity. Don't worry.
Bro, I know there's no art to find a man's construction in the face. But you are a brother in whom I place an absolute trust. You are my kinsman. Strong both against the deed. And you're your true brother. Who should against the murderer not bear the knife yourself? You are not to bear the knife yourself. If I'm down, you are down. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Honorable members, before we go into the business statement, we suspended the House, and upon our resumption, the matter that actually made the suspended the House, we should have dealt with it. But when I look at my left side, the one who actually moved the motion was not here. Honorable Yusuf was not here. That is why I called Majority Leader to read the business statement. I believe Honorable Yusuf have withdrawn his earlier statement. I believe so. So that we can move on. Honorable Yusuf, have you withdrawn your earlier statement?
Mr. Speaker, my leadership and all of us on this side have come to realize that the business of this House is important. And so we will do it. We are only asking that they should take the business of this House serious. As we speak, most of them are following the running mates, campaigning. When natural power, you should be here, waiting for Mother Ghana. So Ghanaians are seeing us, that we the minority people are working for Ghana, and then that is enough for us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much for withdrawing the motion to enable us move on. To enable us move on. So now we can move on. So, honorable members, the leader of the House has read the business statement for the ensuing week to us. Let me invite comments on the statement. If there's anything that you think should have been mentioned and the leader or the committee omitted it, this is the time. So let me invite Honorable Dafia Mapo. Oh, after Dafia Mapo, I'll come to you.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity, and let me commend the leader for the presentation of the statement to govern business for next week. Speaker, last week I indicated that the mood of the House is to have the Electoral Commission come to brief the House regarding the...
Honorable Leader, please, you will respond to them, so if you can give...
The mood of the House, Mr. Speaker, is to have the Electoral Commission appear before the Committee of the Whole to brief the House, one, on the completion of the limited registration, and also to brief us on the difficulties, the peculiar difficulties that they had and how to improve those situations, and two, the transfers and also the peculiar difficulties that went with transfer of votes. Mr. Speaker, this is very, very important because the Electoral Commission, under very strange circumstances, is asking for a mop-up exercise to be done in August. Normally, the mop-up is done immediately after the exercise, but they have moved the mop-up to August. Mr. Speaker, as a result of that, it's affected the calendar for exhibition of the register. So this matters, we are such a major stakeholder, we need to be properly briefed on the issues. he hasn't found favor with the business committee, because I see that the boundaries commission is billed to appear before the committee of the whole, but there's nothing regarding that for the electoral commission. So I want to urge once more that they should find space next week and bring the electoral commission and the electoral commission here to brief us. That's one. Mr. Speaker, from the business statement, we have been told that there are some very important bills that will have to be considered. Even those which report are yet to be moved, we are told that they will be at consideration stage next week. That is fine. But one other bill that is also very important is the interstate succession bill. It's been at the consideration stage for nearly 6 months or more. Every day, it will be publicized. The advertised amendments will be publicized, but no work appears to be done on it. And I think that we run the risk of having this bill ignored, and the life of this parliament will come to an end. And it's such a critical bill, Mr. Speaker. Parliament, the 8th Parliament will not be forgiven if we don't do business to this bill. So I want to urge leadership, the leader of government business, to equally prioritize this bill. It is not a voluminous bill. It's something that we can work on. The interstate succession bill, we should be able to deal with it as we are having space to deal with other bills. Mr. Speaker, that is 2. Mr. Speaker, 3. We continue to speak about referrals before the committees and urge the committee leadership to expedite work on those referrals. Mr. Speaker, let's speak to the statistics. According to the compendium of business before meeting, the referrals before the committee is 689. I am not the one saying it. It is the compendium that is saying so. So the committees are inundated with work. But the chairmen who are supposed to convene committee meetings, Mr. Speaker, I have been told by my brother Yusuf that they are following Dr. Baumia and they are campaigning. They are not doing the business of parliament. So we want to urge them. They should come down and convene committee meetings and deal with the 689 referrals. So, Mr. Speaker, you can take those reports on this floor. So, Mr. Speaker, with these words, I thank the leader of the House for presenting the business for next week and also listening carefully to matters arising therefrom. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Before I will call a member for Temale North, Temale Central, kindly indulge me to acknowledge our children at the public gallery, students from Tema Christian Center, and they are here being led by William Mensah, who's a teacher, and the school is located in the Tema Central constituency. Is Ni here? Yes. You are a member of parliament, is not available. But you are welcome. And you hope you are monitoring everything going on here. It's part of the parliamentary proceedings. So you are welcome, and you have to go home and study hard, so that tomorrow, if we are not here, you also come and occupy these seats. Come again. The MP is not available. Proceed. Yes, Honorable Mutala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise not to comment on some of the statements made by the majority leader, because I wouldn't want to belabor the matter. But I want to state emphatically that this is a House of Parliament. We have a major responsibility of making laws for this country. And those laws must be respected first and foremost by the lawmakers themselves. We have all agreed collectively that our conduct of business in this House should be guided by the Constitution of the Republic and the standing orders of this House. And therefore, when there is any attempt to shrug off any provision in the Constitution or the standing order, it should be of tremendous concern to everybody, especially the one who is sitting there, in this case, your honorable self, Mr. Speaker. I want your guidance on a very important issue. When a motion is made by any member or raised by any member, does it matter whether that person is in the chamber or not? So, for example, in the case of the issue involving Honorable Yusuf, your ruling was that because he wasn't here, you suspended the matter at the behest of the majority leader. I want to be guided. Whether it matters, whether the person needs to be in the House, or once that particular motion is moved, a decision can be taken and the processes that began continue, or we must suspend it until another person comes. The second issue is that can we suspend a matter such as that and take another issue at the behest of either the majority leader or the minority leader, in this case, the majority leader? I need to be guided. The reason why I think it is of tremendous concern to me, and I believe to many of our colleagues and those watching, that Parliament is a house of records. And whatever happens here can be referred to one day as one of the rules of the Speaker, and that can serve as a guide to whoever is sitting there one day. The last point, Mr. Speaker, and I agree, he is a brother of mine, but my brothership with him, or my brotherliness with him, is anchored on principle. And that when I foresee or disregard of that principles, the brotherhoodness is something that we share somewhere. We were simply asking questions that tell us how urgent or the agency of that particular thing. And that question has not been answered. And I get the sense that my brother has actually withdrew the motion. Who am I to question? But I want it to be recorded that I, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, absolutely is not in support of the decision taken in this House. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Murtala. As to whether the owner of a motion can be taken, or his motion can be taken into consideration if he's around or he's not around, I don't think our standing orders is actually capturing it. Once I suspended the House and came and realized he was not there, I decided to take a decision that I would take the business statement. And immediately I saw him in the chamber, I referred the matter back to him, whether he's still standing on his motion. So, Honorable Murtala, probably we all have to look into our standing orders as to whether someone raising a motion and is not there can be overlooked or not overlooked. In this case, I'm not overlooking it. I decided that once he's not there, I want him to be present before I address that particular issue. So we are all learning. I believe we are learning, I'm also learning. So it's part of the learning curves. So let's take all these things in good faith and try to build our parliament for the good of all of us. So we are still on the standing, the business statement. Yes, let me go to Salaga Sound.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the business statement. Mr. Speaker, my contribution has to do with the chamber, and so I think it will be more related to the House Committee than the Business Committee, although it will find vent in the business statement. Mr. Speaker, oftentimes when we arrive here at Parliament and we are waiting in our offices to attend to the chamber, I think it must be the audiovisual department. They are doing a great job keeping us in the loop as to the developments in the chamber, whether Mr. Speaker is in or he's not yet in. Whilst we wait, they regale us with a lot of beautiful music. They play sometimes very good high life, and then we enjoy it as we wait. But Mr. Speaker, I've made this observation, and the observation relates to, I think, the secular nature of our country. That we are a secular country. All religions, all forms of worship are recognized in this country. We are in the period of Hajj. This is the month of Hajj for the Muslims in this parliament. And so we want to find out whether it is possible that as we wait on a weekly basis, whether on Fridays, some of the music that they play can also reflect our day of worship and let us feel part of this community. Today, I don't know whether they ran out of tracks, but they were even playing Christmas lyrics and New Year songs. Yeah, they played, in June. And I was like, well, this is June, this is Hajj time. At least you could play some Quranic recitations, some zikr, and some of us are happy and willing to help that department to compile some of the zikr that resonates with our religion, so that on Fridays, at least, let us feel part. We don't mind. I mean, I was dancing to great things he has done. We don't mind. But we also want to hear La Baika La Umma La Sharika La Baika. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes. Let me come to Honorable Yusuf.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful. Mr. Speaker, once again, I'm on my feet today, Friday, to mention Bole Bamboy, and of course, not good news. Not good news because last night, Mr. Speaker, some military officers went to some Galamsey sites and arrested the MPP vice chairman. The MPP vice chairman was arrested and beaten up and taken to the police station. They claim he's involved in Galamsey at a concession that was...
Honorable, hold on. Yes, Honorable Member for.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. But I want to correct my brother that crime has no political party. If somebody has committed an offense and he has been so arrested, he has a name, he has a means of identification. He did not go there as a representative of any political party.
Well.
So let that be clear.
Well. So, Honorable Yusuf, please take you of that. Yes.
enemies at. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that yesterday night, the MPP vice chairman for Bole Bamboy constituency was arrested by some military men and taken to the police station. Why? They claim he was doing galamsey on a land that has been allocated to a large-scale miner. The youth heard it and followed up. As I speak to you, the MPP secretary for the constituency was also beaten up. And the two of them, as I speak to you, are hospitalized. And it has raised some tension in Bole Bamboy. Mr. Speaker, the reason is that to these companies, there was no proper stakeholder engagement. And so while these people are on the land mining illegally, they were not involved in any way to suggest that the land has been given to a large-scale miner, and so they should look for a different place. So they are there, and the Chinese will go there, forcing them to leave the area. And when they resisted, they were beaten up. Mr. Speaker, I have concerns about the way the land in the Bole Bamboy constituency has been given out to so many large-scale miners at the expense of community certificates, community mining certificates. A lot of young men and women have put themselves together and have applied, asking for community licenses to be able to do mining. They have been denied, and over 7 companies have been given large-scale mining prospecting licenses. I think that our appeal to the majority leader to talk to my younger brother, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, to come here and explain to us. We all know that Article 2576 puts all the resources of this country in the hands of the President. That's a fact. But in doing so, the President will have to always ensure that you engage the stakeholders. 2 weeks ago, the Bolora had to call stakeholder meeting. And the reason was that he has heard that so many allocations have been given to companies and he himself was not aware. This issue was raised by the Gonyaland youth president, that they are not aware that our land has been given to so many companies without any engagement. Mr. Speaker, that's the first point.
Yes, the first.
The second point, Mr. Speaker, I think that this country is at a crossroads. We are all suffering, Mr. Speaker. I used to give out 1,000 Ghana cedi to my wife a week. Today,
Honorable Yusuf, this one is not part of the business statement.
It is. I'm calling on the Minister of Finance to come here and give us reasons why today a bucket of tomato, last week it was about 200 Ghana cedi. Today it's hitting 500 Ghana cedi. And you think we shouldn't ask him questions? The Minister of Finance should make it a point to come here on weekly basis to update us, just as the President did when there was COVID. We are in serious situation. So we need the Minister of Finance to come here. Now, you don't see the Deputy Minister of Finance. Any of them is not around. The Minister of Finance himself is not around. Are they running away from the hardship? We are in it. We expect that on weekly basis, some statements, at least to tell Ghanaians that we are doing something, and that very soon your hardship will end. Anything outside this, Mr. Speaker, you are invited.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable Mutal, I gave you the opportunity. Let me, yes, Honorable Gansa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
After this, okay.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to withdraw my question slated on 26th June
2024. That's Wednesday. Question number 517. Mr. Speaker, I asked that question a very long time ago, and in a way, it has been dealt with. So I want to withdraw it. But I still have a question for the finance minister. So if it can be humbly replaced with that question. Mr. Speaker, it's my plea that you intervene so that that question will be replaced with a question here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well.
Mr. Speaker, last Wednesday, I think last week you ruled that.
Look,
it's important to add it so that you can answer it. You ruled that the Minister for Interior should be scheduled to come to address issues raised by the Honorable MP for Bolibambo. I think we raised the issue at the business committee. The leader had said that he was going to do the necessary consultation with the Minister of Interior. But I wanted to state that on record that that consultation must be done and that the minister will be expected to come to the House as has been directed by the Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Mutal, I'll come back to you. Yes, leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Deputy Minority Leader, my respected colleague, on the issue of my assurances earlier given at the committee. I will definitely follow up so that the minister finds the space to come. Yes, I heard Honorable Yusuf of Bole Bamboy commending the president highly for how well he was updating Ghanaians during the COVID. That's what you said. No, Honorable Yusuf, he's here. He commended President Akufo-Addo on how well he updated Ghanaians during the COVID. And he suggests that the Minister of Finance should adopt a similar approach. Mr. Speaker, it is true.
But Honorable, is that not right? He said he commended you for the regular.
And I will never commend him on this matter. Mr. Speaker, he's putting words in my mouth. And I am capable of defending myself. Mr. Speaker, I have never said, and I will not say, that the president deciding to brief Ghanaians shows that it was something that we should be commending. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that if the Minister of Finance comes to do it, it will be better than what the president did. And so he should come and do it. If he does it well, I will commend him. But the president, how on earth can I commend the president whose watch and today?
It's okay.
Responsible like this. One tomato.
It's okay.
Just like I'm not training people in soap making.
Well, Mr. Speaker, Hansard will testify. So I took note that the president did well during COVID. That is how he anchored his submission, that the president did very well, and that the Minister of Finance should also do same. That was what, So, Speaker, on the Electoral Commission briefing of the House, as indicated by the Honorable Roxanne Dafemepo, I don't think that the matter really came up. But it's a good point to make. I mean, because, Mr. Speaker, we need to be briefed by the EC on their preparation and all, aside the briefing of IPAC. So I think this is a matter to be taken up. I mean, it's a legitimate point. So I would urge the clerk at table to extend the necessary invitation so that we find space to hear them. But it is not to say that the mop-up exercise that they're going to do in August is a belated decision, because they engaged the political parties, and I think that they had a consensus on this matter. So let's also be careful how we make the submission. Then Honorable Alhaji Gansa of Esikumo Dobin Braka, you want to withdraw your question and you want Mr. Speaker to get something in. Okay, so we take it that you've withdrawn your question. No, you are not to be. Yes, please, you sit down. Mr. Speaker, this morning I've heard from Honorable Akando, who has a very good relationship with his chairman. If all committees function the way you do, there will be general peace in this house. You and your chairman, you function very well. The health committee is always peaceful, and I'm happy about that. Yes. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources is being urged to come and apprise us with some happenings in Bole Bamboy. That is application of Honorable Yusuf of Bole Bamboy. I've heard you. Effort will be made to engage the minister to see how to address the issue. But I would also encourage you, if possible, to file an urgent question. To file an urgent question. That will be a shorter route. It will be a shorter route to address your concerns. Mr. Speaker, the interstate succession bill. We started the consideration in this house. Honorable Defema Paul wants to know why the committee is still not addressing this. It's a general problem we have with some referrals. So, Mr. Speaker, I think he's echoed the sentiment of the House that we want the interstate succession bill passed. So the committee responsible should take note for us to make progress. Mr. Speaker, without more, I shall to gavel for the adoption of the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today being Friday.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I know the majority leader is a very experienced member of parliament. He can judge the mood of the House since Tuesday today, up to date, that there is a need for committee of the whole. No, to discuss pertinent issues. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we don't even know how much we earn as salaries. Yes, 6 months to the life at the end of this parliament. How much do you earn? Do you know it? Do you know your salary? So, Mr. Speaker, it is important that we meet to address some of these things. Common fund arrears, and so many things. I mean, common fund for the projects in the constituency. So there's a need for urgent committee of the whole, so that all these matters can be addressed. Otherwise, so Mr. Speaker, I want him to tell us when exactly.
But I hope you listen to him.
When? He didn't give us specific date.
He said Wednesday.
When are we going to have it? Is it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday? It should be specific.
Very well.
There are a lot of issues bothering the minds of members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lastly, I'll listen to. Lastly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to add my voice to what Honorable Yusuf said in the matter of the majority leader ensuring that the Minister for Lands appears before this House to provide answers to some specific and pertinent questions. In Tamale Central, state lands are being shared like kose or roasted granules. Mr. Speaker, to the extent the population of Tamale is skyrocketing day by day. Tamale West Hospital, and the majority leader knows where it is, because there's an MPP youth groups. Anytime they get to Tamale, they visit them. The land that belongs to the hospital have been sold, and people are developing with speed. You go there in the night, they are putting up, maybe perhaps they are taking you from the 24-hour economy President Mahama is going to implement. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the road, in fact, he knows the place once again, the local government road heading towards estate, bungalows belonging to the state and properties have been sold. And I think that it is important because I reported an incident to the Minister for Lands. If you go to Tamale, the prison's yard is in the premises of the Ghana police, the police station. They don't have the accommodation there. The accommodation is about 800 meters from the prison's yard. And that was where they had the accommodation for prison officers. Mr. Speaker, the prison officers called me and complained to me as their MP that they were selling the lands. They asked them to vacate the accommodation and that they were sold. I complained to my kid brother, Honorable Abu Jinapo, and he told me to write. I wrote officially, submitted the letter at the Ministry of Lands. As I talk to you today, the entire buildings there on that stretch, the roof have all been ripped off. Now, it means that the prison officers who don't have accommodation where the prison is located would have to look for accommodations elsewhere. That is a serious matter. Mr. Speaker, I think that the minister, when he's invited to come here, there won't be restriction as to the questions we ask and those who can be engaged. Because if you are asking us to file a question for the minister to come and respond to the concerns we have raised, it means that the questions can only be asked by us and perhaps two supplementary questions, and others who are experiencing the same in their regions and their constituencies may not have the opportunity to ask questions. So I think that there could not be any better platform than the minister being invited to come to this House and answer to those questions. Mr. Speaker.
To answer to which questions?
The questions of selling state lands like Kose.
You see,
the questions of selling state lands like
Honorable Mutara, if you don't invite the minister with specific questions, how will he prepare to come and respond to the question? Because you come and you then begin to speak about Tamale Central Lands.
When Honorable Yusuf rose, he indicated the reasons, the justification for the demand for the minister to come here, which will be captured in the Hansard.
I'm just helping you, yes, that in order that the minister can come and answer to the specific questions, I mean, it's either better to bring him yourself by way of question. Because if he comes and you pose the question, he says, I'm going to prepare because I'm not aware that this is the kind of questions I'm coming to face. So let's look at it again. bringing the minister here will not be a difficulty. But then, when he comes and he has not been prepared for the specific questions that you want him to answer, that will be another
Mr.
thing.
Speaker, I absolutely agree with you. But you see, there are security implications on these matters. There are. And in fact, the sale of state lands under this government and sharing them like Kelewele is not only limited to Tamale Center. Everywhere. In Accra here, there have been series of concerns. And I can give you a classical example. Go to the East Legonanda Beach. The entire stretch.
Well. We've gotten you.
Can I conclude?
Yeah, conclude.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, there was another issue. I filed a question here, invited the then Minister for Interior. He appeared before this House, could not provide the answers I needed. He said we should give him time. I did that the second time. The response was the same. And Mr. Speaker, I filed a question inviting the Minister for Interior and the Minister for Finance on very critical issues that border on the safety and the security of the people of Tamale Central and in the entire environs of Tamale. In the matter of the 14-year-old boy who was gunned down at the Lemashanas Palace, 14-year-old boy who was preparing to write his BCE by men in uniform. By men in uniform. People who swore an oath to protect lives and property. As we sit today, Right Honorable Speaker, no response, excuses upon excuses, and your clerks will tell you that they will write and tell me that the minister cannot come. We are left with some few weeks to rise. What is the guarantee that once again, the consistency in giving excuses why they cannot appear before this House to answer questions that border on the safety and the security of the people of this country? What is the guarantee? So I think that to expedite actions, it will be appropriate the minister comes. And I'm saying that the minister is well aware of the complaints I have with regards to the sales of lands in Tamale, because I complained to him, he asked me to write, I wrote to the ministry, and as I see today, the lands are being shared. As a matter of fact, there is a complaint that is made by an MPP communicator. He sat on local television and accused the MPP parliamentary candidate for Tamale South.
It's okay, it's okay. Honorable Mustala.
Public statement.
You've had enough.
So what happens?
You've had enough.
To invite him.
He will respond to you.
Answer the question.
So finally, Honorable.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, last week there was an incident involving Winneba Government Hospital, which led to the death of a woman at Ojobi. And the majority leader drew our attention that both the ministry and Ghana Health Service were dealing with the matter. And I remember we said we should prioritize that issue for the minister responsible for health to come and brief us the status of that matter. So I think that, Mr. Speaker, it would be more appropriate for us to invite the minister responsible for health to come and tell the House, the representatives of the people, where they have gotten to as far as that issue is concerned. It's of very, very high public interest, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on all the issues raised by Honorable Mutala, steps will be taken to ensure that these issues are addressed. Mr. Speaker, on Honorable Akando issue, Mr. Speaker, my response would be as follows. One, Mr. Speaker ruled on the matter, and in ruling on the matter, he upheld my submission to the effect that we should allow the appropriate institution to do its work. The Minister of Health has given the special committee up to a month to finish its work and present a report. Ours is oversight, so let's await the final report. I've been in constant touch with them. So we are waiting the report. I think so far they've invited the social welfare officers involved, and they've all given statements. It's a very pathetic story, honestly, and I pray that it doesn't really happen. You know, considering the investment made in the health sector by this government, you know, in terms of health infrastructure, recruitment, and all. We don't have to be hearing these stories. Mr. Speaker, an issue was raised about the Ministry of Education and the plans of the Minister of Education in apprising the House. Mr. Speaker, I'm able to tell the House that the Minister is going to apprise the House on the quantum leap in terms of enrollment from 2017, when we had only 800,000 of our youth in schools. Today, because of the free SH, I'm not talking about the TVET, we have 1.4 million Ghanaian youth. 1.4 million youth in secondary schools. That's not, without even talking about TVET. So all these, they will be briefing on it next week. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Samson Ahi raised an issue regarding welfare matters. Mr. Speaker, the man is not in the house. So it's not about his person. It's about the issue he raised. I think the business committee has programmed Wednesday to be an important day to discuss matters that have to be discussed. So these will be addressed. So, Speaker, I think all the issues have been addressed. Members have raised issues of security. So, Speaker, we know that this government has employed more police officers than the records have had seen since the Fourth Republic. Police infrastructure has increased, and we have police visibility, you know, in the country, and it is giving us peace of mind. Ghanaians have their peace of mind because the security situation has improved, and we all know that. Mr. Speaker, I would end it here and encourage members to accept this report.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, the business statement, which has been thoroughly discussed, is hereby adopted.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, may we proceed and deal with...
Leader, I'll come to you, but I have one tribute of the passing of a former member that I have to make.
Mr. Speaker, yes, Mr. Speaker, but I am leading government.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I humbly pray that without prejudice to your discretion on matters on the floor, item 72 at page 38 of today's ordered paper be taken. I thank you, sir.
Page.
Mr. Speaker, page 38. Item 72. Motion, Mr. Speaker, to be taken by my respected colleague for Okai South and Honorable Kapua Newman, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. We strongly urge her to summarize her justification anchoring the motion, considering the time.
Well. Honourable members, turn to page item listed 72, motion by the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move that item number 72 on page 38 of today's order paper be taken. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. This is procedural motion. The question is, all those in favour of the motion say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. So we will move to 73.
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Minister. 73.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That the Affirmative Action Gender Equality Bill 2024 be now read a second time. Thank you.
Yes.
I second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In so doing, I present your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, the Affirmative Action Bill 2024 was presented to the House on Friday, 14 June 2024 by the Minister of Education on behalf of the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 103(3) and 106(4) of the 1992 Constitution and Order 237 of the Standing Orders, the bill was referred to the Committee on Gender, Children and Social Welfare for consideration and report. Mr. Speaker, the committee met with officials of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, Affirmative Action Bill Coalition, African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, that is ACEPA, Institute of Democratic Governance, Ghana, Center for Democratic Development, and Northern Sector Actions on Awareness Center. The committee is very grateful for the above stakeholders because they actually made useful contributions during the deliberation. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to also mention that reference was made to the Constitution of Ghana, to the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, the Standing Orders of the Parliament of Ghana, the Affirmative Action Bill 2024. Mr. Speaker, against the background that there have been several attempts to pass the Affirmative Action Bill in Ghana, none have been achieved the desired outcome. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has actually implemented affirmative action policies in the past. For instance, the Representation of the People's Act, which was enacted in 1960, was an expression of the commitment of the government of seeing women as equal partners in decision-making and governance. The Act has actively encouraged women to participate in all aspects of governance. The government of Ghana introduced the Affirmative Action Policy Guidelines in 1998, alongside other related interventions. Nonetheless, the results, after many years of implementation, do not show any significant improvement towards achieving gender parity in national life. Ghana has also not been able to achieve many of the targets set out in various international conventions signed since 1995. Ghana's statistics on gender equity have been discouraging, making it imperative for the enactment of affirmative action legislation. Mr. Speaker, the affirmative action legislation has been touted as the most effective means for addressing the causes of gender imbalance in the society. And gender imbalance is a global phenomenon occasioned by persistent patriarchal socio-cultural systems and norms that militate against the equal rights of women and girls. It creates unequal participation in decision-making, as well as economic and development processes which undermine sustainable socio-economic development. Mr. Speaker, the global community has used various interventions.
Honorable Leader, can you move to conclusion?
Yes, we have to set the background so that people will understand.
The background is already known.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So the purpose of the bill, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the purpose is to address socio-cultural, economic, and political gender imbalance in the country, stemming from historical discrimination, the unequal participation of both male and female in development processes. And, Mr. Speaker, the bill also seeks to provide an accountability framework for gender equality and the empowerment of women aimed at both the executive and legislative yardstick for measuring. Mr. Speaker, we have the highlights of the contents of the bill. The bill consists of 34 clauses and 6 schedules. Mr. Speaker, I take it that members have copies of the report and they can really go through the different areas where these clauses represent. And I'll move on directly, and I want the Hazards Department to capture the full report. So I'll move on to the conclusion. The concerns. First, we will look at the concerns of the committee. We had some challenges where foreseen by the committee as part of the implementation plan. The committee noted that activities toward the enactment and implementation of the bill are grouped under pre-enactment area. The pre-enactment activities involve engagement with various stakeholders, such as the legislature, to deepen understanding of the issues the law will address and the benefit thereof. Post-enactments involve further stakeholder engagement, focusing more on capacity building for effective implementation. The ministry acknowledges that public education, sensitization, and effective engagement are key to securing the needed support for the implementation. Accordingly, a comprehensive communication strategy has been developed. Communication activities will be used to engage the public and all other stakeholders to solicit support and provide clarity. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Leader,
we have proposed amendments and members have taken note of it. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the Affirmative Action Bill aims to ratify the gender imbalances resulting from historic, structural, and social causes of gender inequality. This legislation will also address the factors that threaten women's economic empowerment. Having carefully and comprehensively scrutinized the bill, the committee concludes that the passage of the Affirmative Action Bill 2024 will significantly contribute to the elimination of gender disparities in various sectors, ensuring a more equitable and inclusive society. The provision of the bill would promote equal opportunities for women, thereby aiding their socio-economic development. Mr. Speaker, the committee hereby recommends that this Honorable House adopts its report on the Affirmative Action Gender Equality Bill 2024. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submit. Thank you.
Honourable members, the motion has been read. It has been seconded. The committee report has been read to us. Yes. Let me invite Honourable Dafiamapo.
Speaker, let me first of all commend the Minister and the committee for a very thorough but quick work done for making sure that this report is presented for our debate. Mr. Speaker, my worry is that even though I'm desirous of this bill being passed, and perhaps expressly so, I don't know if the intention is to pass it under certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, if that is so, then the committee has done itself some injustice, because the pertinent issues the committee raised in the report are such that it will not be appropriate for us to pass these enactments under the route that they are urging on the House. And let me anchor my position with the following observations. Mr. Speaker, may I refer the House to page 4, paragraph 7, sub 1 of the report. The committee has this to say. The committee noted that the gender parity targets in the bill will be difficult to achieve. This is the committee speaking, Mr. Speaker. Will be difficult to achieve considering the historical data and statistics available. The committee proceeds further to say some targets in the bill might be difficult to achieve owing to cultural and traditional beliefs and constitutional constraints. To achieve gender parity and other targets, paragraph 7, page 4, I've indicated that page 4, paragraph 7, sub 1. The committee proceeds further to say that to achieve gender parity and other targets, there's the need for continuous education, advocacy, and pragmatic policies such as quota systems. The committee goes further. The committee further recognized the unique practices of some security organizations, such as the military, who are practice specific to their context and backed by international protocols and standards of operation. This poses a potential hindrance in ensuring compliance when the bill is passed. This is what the committee is saying. Again, the committee noted that there may be some difficulties in achieving the cultural objectives of the bill. This is because of the provisions under Article 270, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution, which restricts Parliament from enacting laws that can influence the institution of chieftaincy. Currently, the national and regional houses of chiefs have no female representation, and this cannot be redressed owing to the constitutional imperative. Mr. Speaker, herein lies my headache, that if the committee itself is making these pertinent findings of fact, mostly based on the legal hindrances and framework that we have, then I don't see why they will be urging this House to proceed with alacrity and pass the legislation with the speed of light. and only to run ourselves into constitutional roadblocks. So yes, I am all for the passage of the law. But my view is that let us pass the law using the normal procedure so we can deal with the constitutional roadblocks and bottlenecks that the committee itself identified in enacting the law. We can still enact this law by December, but we don't have to rush it. So we can deal with the constitutional amendments that will be in compliance with the passage of the law. Mr. Speaker, with these words, let me say that at paragraph 7.2, pages 5 and 6, the committee again says this, and it's very important that I bring this to the attention of the House. Just observe that approval of the affirmative action bill will be consistent with the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Article 35 of the Constitution requires government to promote the integration of the people of Ghana and prohibit discrimination and prejudice on the grounds of place of origin, circumstances of birth, ethnic origin, gender, or religion, creed, or other beliefs. Article 35(6)(b) of the Constitution further empowers the state, that's the directive principles of state policy, to empower the state to take appropriate measures to achieve reasonable regional and gender balance in recruitment and appointments to public office. But hitherto, they have raised the constitutional imperatives. So we need to align these two observations to be able to effectively pass a good law into effect. Now, finally, Mr. Speaker, they gave some statistics. At page 6 of the report, they indicated the following. The percentage of women in parliament has fluctuated considerably, growing from 8% in 1992 to 11% in 2004, dipping again to 8% in 2008, and then growing marginally over the years to 14.5% in 2020. The 2020 ratio places Ghana at the 147th position out of 193 countries on the Interparliamentary Union World Classification. It further states that the percentage of women elected to district assemblies has declined over time from 10% in 2006, it reduced to 7% in 2010 and 4.7% in 2015. In 2019, Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that this ratio further declined to 3.7. This is a matter of concern considering that 51% of the Ghanaian population are females. Mr. Speaker, it states that female ministerial appointments in the past experienced a downward trend from 24% in 2017 to 21% presently. Finally, it has this to say: women's representation in the Supreme Court is 29%, while in the higher courts it is 25%. Similarly, in the civil service, only 28.3% of chief directors are women. Mr. Speaker, I was hoping they would have given us the statistics for the female representation at the circuit and the magisterial level. There they dominate. So the issue about this bill is not only about women discrimination against the female gender. It's about discrimination against any gender at all. We also discriminated against in the nursing services. They dominate in the nursing services. So, Mr. Speaker, with these words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in contributing to this, I would want to refer, with your indulgence, to Article 35 of the Constitution. And particularly, I would want to read 35.3 of the 35.5, which says that the state shall actively promote the integration of the peoples of Ghana and prohibit discrimination and prejudice on the grounds of place of origin, circumstances of birth, ethnic origin, gender, or religion, or other beliefs. Under 6, in particular 6b, it says, towards the achievement of the objectives stated in clause 5 of this article, the state shall take appropriate measures to be achieve reasonable regional and gender balance in recruitment and appointment to public offices. Mr. Speaker, this is the constitution of the land. The moment we mention affirmative action, Mr. Speaker, it means that there is imbalance, social imbalance, gender imbalance that this bill seeks to address. And that is, this constitution says that we must prove that we have a problem that a law or a bill seeks to address. Mr. Speaker, further, it is captured in a report of the committee that I was privileged, Mr. Speaker, as the leadership of Constitutional Legal, to join the committee. And at page 5 of the report, the last paragraph, it is stated, and I quote, Ghana is a signatory to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which requires government to demonstrate its commitment towards the achievement of the goals, particularly Goal 5, which states that gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls should be achieved by 2030. Mr. Speaker, our Constitution already aims at trying to bridge the parity gap between genders that we have in Ghana. Women, nobody, Mr. Speaker, had discriminated against women, and the report says that due to cultural and traditional beliefs, it has resulted in this social imbalance. The Constitution had not prevented any woman in competing for any position, but traditionally, how do we get rid of the mental beliefs that we have? In Ghana, we say that there are some jobs, it is not legal, but in Ghana, some jobs are reserved for men and not for women. Such as, I remember when I started as a boy, as a kente weaver, women were not allowed to sit on the loom. And traditionally, I believe it's still the order of the day. Even driving, it is quite recently that how many professional drivers do we have in Ghana that are women? Mr. Speaker, and throughout my schooling, teaching, we have had good teachers. And I can say that the best teachers that I had in my academic career were women. So women have proven themselves to be good. But the problem we have is our constitutional imperative. It is said that equality is not always just. And therefore, this bill is aiming at, and the bill aims at gradually improving on the parity. Most companies are conscious of the fact that we have to bridge appointment, and that by this year, by 2030, we would want to get 50 to 50 men and women. I know of good companies which are doing that. In Parliament, Mr. Speaker, and the report captures it, we go up, we come down. The smaller number that we have as representation for women, even when it rose, it came down again. And how do we ensure that we have, in the light of the Constitution, we have a lot of women that would be represented in Parliament? Unless we go by an approach such as an affirmative action, we cannot achieve this. And it is very, very important as a nation. These days, if you are attending a meeting, the requirement is that at least there must be 30% women representation if it is international. How do we achieve this? Sometimes we struggle to get the 30% representation. I remember there was a time that we even had to use the clerks of parliament to balance this in order that we'll get the 30%. But we want to go beyond this, go beyond the 30%, go beyond 40%, and even come to 50%. Because statistics shows that the women are greater, more than the men. And yet, when it comes to appointments and other things, Mr. Speaker, so the difficulty is that the Constitution had given equal rights to everybody to compete.
Thank you.
And Honorable Abuja, for instance, there are some of us who will say that we will sacrifice for women to take that. Honorable Abuja had already whispered to me that he is prepared to vacate his seat for a woman to take it over. Mr. Speaker, as soon as he does that, I'll follow him. So, Kwame, when it comes to appointment, political appointments, how do we make sure that already the political parties have started to work towards the achievement of the parity? Because I know on the other side, both MPP and NDC, they give privileges to women when it comes to primaries for elections. And I think we have to increase this to make sure that we get more women represented in parliament in order that we can get them in other organizations. So this is a good bill that we must work towards it. And once we have the bill and we go to the nitty-gritties, Mr. Speaker, I am sure that within the next 3 years and 5 years or even 10 years, we would have achieved the purpose that we have put before us. I thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable members, I'm just being frank with you. I'm getting tired, so you have to be brief in your contributions. I'll come to you. No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the motion raised by my able minister, Honorable Dakwa Newman. Mr. Speaker, I would like to recommend the Gender Committee, which I am part of it, because we started this journey since 2013 when Honorable Oye Lita was the gender minister, the president, John Dramani Mahama, and the speaker, Do Ajahu. We did all we could. We couldn't achieve it. And the other gender minister, how do they call it? The one who came, also came and did her part. We went around the whole Ghana doing survey and other things just to achieve this gender equality and parity. Mr. Speaker, now our young sister, Minister Newman, is here presenting it with Speaker Bagbin, who is also fully in support of this bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the men that they shouldn't panic, they shouldn't fear. We are not here to pass this bill to take their seats. Not at all. Every woman will contest if they want to contest. We will encourage women to contest. If they win, they come in. But nobody is going to take over from a man. Mr. Speaker, the only thing that we achieve this equality is marriage. One man, one woman. One man, one woman. Marriage. That's all. In Ghana. Everything else in Ghana. Women,
Honorable, which law is that?
I'm right.
Which law is that?
The only thing that you see that is one man.
Honorable Deo.
Yes, Mr.
Which
Speaker.
law are you basing your argument?
I'm saying that the only thing that you see it works that way is marriage. The only thing that you see that it works that way is marriage. Apart from that, anything that we do in this country, the women are just below the belt. And we are passing this bill to encourage each and everyone, wherever the men too are falling short, we will make sure they also come to standard. And wherever the women too are falling short, we make sure they also come to standard. Mr. Speaker, this should not send panic to any man. We will make sure they are in safe hands. And this
Honorable member, why? Why? Is it because of one man, one?
Mr. Speaker, I am volunteering an information to find out from Honorable Doyle whether she is aware that there are more women in Ghana than men. In the light of the statement that she's making, that the only thing that can solve the problem is one man, one woman. What happens to the rest of the women?
Question. Mr. Speaker, this is not a question time. When it's question time, you should find a question for the gender minister to answer. Mr. Speaker, that's the only law that works in Ghana. That's what I want to mean. That the rest, they just bully the women and they don't go anywhere when it comes to equality and parity.
Okay, hold on.
Mr. Speaker, I'm compelled to rise on a point of order. This is the Parliament of Ghana, where laws are made. The Honorable Doyo, for the record of the Hansard, I find her comment, one man, one wife, with the emphasis that this is the only solution to achieving affirmative action. Mr. Speaker, there are Muslims in Ghana, there are Muslims in Parliament. Our religious practices does not sit in tandem with her thoughts and thinking.
And what about customary law?
And even customary law, Mr. Speaker. So to allow these words to stay in the Hansard would be repugnant to my Muslim values, belief, and practice, and will be repugnant to the Constitution, which confers that right on me as a citizen of Ghana. So I'll plead with her. You can give a proposal how to achieve gender equity. Men and women can take a cue from you, but we are unable because of our faith and belief and practice in Islam and as Muslims. Mr. Speaker, to suggest that, if I were to stretch her words, Mr. Speaker, yourself a lawyer, it would mean that she's saying that outlawing polygamy finds a solution into promoting and achieving gender parity and gender equality. That statement, Mr. Speaker, should not be allowed to stay on our record. And we don't take this comment lightly. Speak to affirmative action, speak to your belief. Others believe in polygyny, polygamy, and its practice. So, Honorable Doyo, your comment, I do not think that it should stay in the record. Thank you.
Very well. So, Honorable Doyo, just take a cue. Just take a cue and see how best you can, because you cannot stand the test of time.
But Mr. Speaker, the men are saying I should withdraw. I will withdraw. The way they want to pull the women along, when it gets to any other position, they should pull us the same thing along. One man, one. one man, two women, if they are recruiting in the security services, they should know that the men even cannot marry one woman. So if they put one, they should put two here. In addition, then we move as a nation. Mr. Speaker, the affirmative action bill is coming to address these inequalities so that we'll all be happy in this nation. So let us all support it. When my sister was reading his committee report, a majority leader just passed here and left, and I was asking myself, is he not interested in the affirmative action bill? Why should he leave when gender committee, we are ready to submit our committee report to the floor of Parliament?
Thank you.
So, Mr. Speaker, all the men, they should support this bill. We are ready to make sure it is passed before December. No obstacles. We don't want anybody to bring problems to this bill so that we can pass it before December. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think this bill is generating a lot of interest. Let me go to my sister Gifty. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to contribute.
Considering the interest being shown by members and where we are in terms of the time, I would suggest that we give them specific minutes that they can speak so that we can get as many members as possible to speak.
Very well. So, honorable members, I give you 3 minutes. Everybody will be given 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to contribute to this report on the affirmative action bill, which is long overdue. Mr. Speaker, the first contributor mentioned the roadblocks that do not permit women to move higher in a lot of professions. Mr. Speaker, on the same, to address all these, the report has stated that there is the need to increase education and advocacy. Mr. Speaker, it is only by education and advocacy that could help us move over all the traditional beliefs and the cultural beliefs, and also what society has done to the female gender. Mr. Speaker, it is interesting to know that those of us who believe in all the religious books, we agree that the woman was created the last, and God created everything in order of complexity. So women are well endowed. However, our cultures, our beliefs, and societal norms have made some women feel that they can't. So I'm appealing to all of us to be advocates of gender equality. In our homes, let our fathers call our girls to the kitchen, and in the same way call our boys to the kitchen. When our fathers are going for work, they should go for the work with our young ladies, our daughters, so that we psych them to know that whatever their brothers are doing, so from the home, they psych themselves properly and they could move higher and higher. That is all that we're talking about, advocacy. Let's do it from home, let's do it from church, and as we do that, the society becomes a wonderful place because the numbers are higher, and as we walk, we use the right leg and the left leg as well. So when we leave the ladies behind, then we wouldn't have society being a comfortable place. Let's all join us in the education of gender equality as well as the advocacy. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me come to Reverend Intoso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I want to contribute to this, but before my contribution, I want to place on record that we're not taking this under certificate of agency. as the honorable member has said. We've gone past that. It was referred to the gender committee. We met with civil society organizations and constitutional and legal committee also met with us. So it's been, yes, that's what he said. So it is through the normal process. Mr. Speaker, we have to take this bill seriously because if you look at the 2020 Inter-Parliamentary Union World Classification, Ghana was ranked 147th position out of 193, which is very bad. So without legislation to address cultural, economic, and political gender imbalances, I think we'll not be able to achieve, especially the SDG Goal 5. So the committee, we have worked tirelessly since the 6th Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Your committee has worked tirelessly for this year's past. So when we have gotten to, Mr. Speaker, is as a result of hard work. So we just want to encourage colleagues that this is a serious bill that the world have to support, because they shouldn't forget that females constitute 51.2% in this country. So if we're talking about equity in political positions, likewise decision-making processes, that women will have to have equal representation, we are very right. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to again urge members that we've gone a long way to get to where we have gotten to. The Constitution has not helped us. The ratification of many international and regional conventions since 1995 has also not helped. So we are saying that Ghana, we have missed a lot of international targets. So with the coming in of the Affirmative Action 2024, Mr. Speaker, I am very sure that this will be able to address social, cultural, and economic imbalances in the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the
Thank you so much. Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to the affirmative action bill before the House. Mr. Speaker, I remember when Otiko Officer Ajaba was the minister for at the ministry, I partook in a stakeholders engagement with a view of helping shape the bill that was going to be put before the House. Unfortunately, it didn't see the light of day. So I'm very happy that this current minister has brought it back before the House for consideration. And I want to assure our honorable female MPs here and the entire womanhood in the country that we support the bill, and whatever we will do to ensure that it is done and done well, it's our mandate so to do. However, looking at page 3 and the purpose of the bill, it reads the first paragraph. The purpose of the bill is to effectively address social, cultural, economic, and political gender imbalances in the country, stemming from historical discrimination against women and persistent patriarchal sociocultural systems and norms. The unequal participation of both male and female in the development processes and outcomes reinforces the unequal status of men and women and undermines sustainable development of the country. Our Speaker, I saw that the focus entirely was on women especially within our political. And it saddens me that there is the exclusion of our women or females within the informal sector. And I'm hoping that whatever the various clauses of the bill must also let us know how women within the informal sector are also empowered. The bill must also affect their well-being. For me, that is very important. We don't have to assume that gender equality is restricted within the political space in terms of women in decision making and all that. That will be clearly unfair. We must expand the brackets to ensure that women everywhere, females everywhere, the girl child everywhere is also captured, so that you see the inequality that we are all yearning for, and I mean the inequality that we are all yearning for to be bridged, so that we can achieve some form of parity, equity, and balance within the affirmative action in the bill. And I'm also happy that all of us are in support of it, and it shall be done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We are, as a parliament, looking at a very important legislation in affirmative action, Gender Equality Bill 2024, to right many wrongs of inequality that have persisted in our country over a long period of time, whether in the political, economic, or social space. Mr. Speaker, and to give women their pride of place in our governance, in our public decision making, in order that they can continue to make meaningful contribution to our national development. Mr. Speaker, we rightly recognize that and we respect that. But Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Dafemekwa raised a very significant issue that I want to pay attention to highlight it. And in doing so, Mr. Speaker, the primary question I'm asking, which or what should proceed what? Should it be a constitutional amendment proceeding before we consider an affirmative action bill that sits well with the 1992 Constitution, or we want to pass an affirmative action bill, probably not too sure that some aspects of the bill may offend Article 1(2) of the Constitution. So, for the promoters of the bill, pay particular attention. And Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I quote Article 1(2). This Constitution shall be the supreme law of Ghana, and any other law found to be inconsistent with any provision of this Constitution shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void. Should Parliament proceed on an affirmative action bill on provisions that may be void, declared by the Supreme Court as void, declared as not being inconsistent? And Mr. Speaker, I just share a few examples with you. If you look at the tenor of the bill, for instance, there is in the schedule, they have what they call fourth schedule. They say strategies of the bill. And Mr. Speaker, this is the strategy they have on basic education. It reads, and I quote, a percentage of the Ghana Education Trust Fund and the District Assembly Common Fund shall be allocated to promote girl child education in identified areas, unquote. If you make this part of a bill, you must also know that not living up to it is unlawful and against the law. So law is not strategy. So if you go and load this bill with strategies, Mr. Speaker, I can continue reading. Strategies for secondary education. It reads, brilliant but needy female students shall be supported with scholarships. So if you pass this into law, it means that every brilliant and needy female student is obliged by the state to be supported with a scholarship. My view. is there. It's in page 31, Mr. Speaker. You can refer to it. Then it says strategies in relation to employment, and it reads, promote the employment of pregnant women, even the wedding. Promote the employment of pregnant women. Why? If you were already in employment and you are pregnant, you can be protected. But if you were pregnant, and we say that, Mr. Speaker, page 32, promote the employment of pregnant women. How do you promote the employment of pregnant women? So even when we come to it, by this provision, you are saying that pregnant women should be employed. That's the promotion of pregnant women. That's my ordinary understanding of it. I see table. Go to page 2, read paragraph C, strategies in relation to employment. Then, Mr. Speaker, strategies in relation to gender is there. But, Mr. Speaker, what is even more worrying is that in this bill, they refer to independent constitutional bodies. Which are the independent constitutional bodies? The Auditor General, Electoral Commission, National Commission on Civic Education, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. These are all independent constitutional bodies. And Mr. Speaker, I just take you to National Media Commission and page 27 of the bill. Mr. Speaker, it reads, the National Media Commission shall take appropriate measures to ensure that, Mr. Speaker, these are my words. No, these are the words in the report. Women are portrayed positively in the media, and that stereotyping of women is avoided. Why? If a woman go and commits infidelity, and the media is reporting it, or the husband or the spouse is reporting it, that cannot be positive. You cannot regulate this conduct. You cannot regulate this behavior. So if you say that the National Media Commission shall portray positively women in the media, if you have a problem with stereotyping of women, say so. That we shall desist from stereotyping women. But Mr. Speaker, it reads in page 27, women are portrayed positively. For the media, Mr. Speaker, they reflect what we do, and they reflect what we are. Save their excesses, where they may be irresponsible and exaggerate what is happening. So you cannot put this in a law, and say that a media house has a duty to portray a woman positively. The woman must merit positive reportage if she behaves positively, like any other man. Then, Mr. Speaker, Electoral Commission, same page 27, it reads, ensure compliance. It reads, the Electoral Commission shall ensure compliance with the provisions of this Act by political parties. We are here, members of Parliament. We are all elected by political parties on the ticket of political parties to contest as members of Parliament. The law in the Constitution, if you are to quote Article 94 or any other right, that confers a right on me to vote and be voted for. How can the Electoral Commission regulate political parties that there should be parity of women? Maybe we should rather come and amend the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, that's why I asked the question. Yes. Should we amend the Constitution before proceeding with an affirmative action law for Ghana, or have an affirmative action law that will have trouble sitting with the 1992 Constitution? I dare ask, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, let me narrow to the political parties. Yes, political parties can morally say that in Ashanti, we want to dedicate more seats to women because we likely can project that they can be members of Parliament. Another political party can say in Volta region. But, Mr. Speaker, you have traveled a lot. And the experience in East Africa, yes, sir, yes. Whether in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Kenya, yes, is that many of the women are appointed to Parliament, not elected. Yes. So if Ghana wants to learn, let's learn well. It is not, you cannot legislate. It's a competitive election. Tamale South, Adaklo is open. Whether male or female, go and run a competitive election and come to Parliament. That is what the Constitution provides. Now, if you come and pass a bill, and Mr. Speaker, that's my conclusion. And I'm happy yourself a trained lawyer. Article 11, the hierarchy of the laws. The Constitution takes precedence over all other laws. The Constitution is the true norm of Ghana. You cannot put a bill, law, to be superior to the Constitution. So political parties, yes, you can morally decide that in some areas, because you want to encourage women, you will leave those seats for them. But you cannot legislate and say that only women can run for this seat. What if she runs and I win, and loses, and you won't win? Then, Mr. Speaker, most disturbing, I know you want time, I'll conclude with it. Mr. Speaker, let's come to the long title of the bill. And the long title reads, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, and I assure you, Mr. Speaker, I'll conclude with it. Provide for affirmative action for gender equality in the public and private sectors. How are we going to regulate the private sector? How? And then, Mr. Speaker, when you go into the body of the bill, we are dictating to a company how many women to recruit, how to recruit them. It is my company. I'm running a hairdressing company or a salon that does women's hair. I have chosen that women should be the dominant group. How is this bill going to help that? So for your hair, maybe women are more comfortable with women playing around their hair openly. Openly, Mr. Speaker. Openly, Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
So, Mr. Speaker, there are germane constitutional issues that have been raised. And I think that this is not one of those bills we should encourage that it should pass through a certificate of urgency. We must be thorough to every clause of the bill, subject it to the constitutional test, and subject it to best practice in the world. This matter of strategy, matter of private sector. And Mr. Speaker, I'm just concluding with a quote for the Hansard on the private sector. There's a quote I saw, the Gender Equality Compliance Certificate, independent constitutional bodies, clause 15. Then they have something on private sector. Page 14, Mr. Speaker, 24, clause 24, private sector. Parliament wants to make law, and it says the employer. So maybe, Mr. Speaker, let me just go to TUC, trade union. It says a trade union shall ensure that the principle of gender equality is reflected in the constitution of the trade union. Why? The trade union conducts an election consistent with the provision that there is freedom of association in Ghana. You are passing a law that when the trade union goes to Congress and elect 8 people, you want to ensure strict compliance with this law. How will that sit with the constitutional provision on the trade union and the freedom of association? Then finally, Mr. Speaker, private sector is Greece, and I'll end there, Mr. Speaker. Subject to subsection 3 of section 3, an employer in the private sector shall take measures to ensure progressive gender equality of employees. I have my company. I'm a private sector person. I'm for profit making. Mr. Speaker, I can even say as a businessman, bring me more luck than men. So I want to work with women. You want to legislate on this?
Thank
or they
you.
are more efficient or more productive.
Thank you, leader.
So cautiously in working this bill.
Thank
but
you.
Important
Thank
that
you,
Ghana
leader.
should have an affirmative action bill to correct the gaps and to allow for more representation of women in public decision making and their representation in the public and organizational spheres of our national life.
Thank you. Thank you. Are we not okay? Okay. Yes, Kwoti. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the to contribute towards the report as presented. The timing of this bill is so late and important. I would have expected that this would have been taken sometime earlier in the week, earlier in the day, to have wider cross.
When we are going through the consideration, you'll get the full house. Because people are interested in
this particular report. I think that one also has to look at the legal framework that's in place to make this implementable. And in public office and elected positions is the fact that women are subjected to a unique form of discrimination, include the passing of gender-based violence laws, as well as violence against women policies. And yet women's reputations are up for destruction just because they are women. It also reduces the chance of very common. In other jurisdictions as well, one of the ways in which the houses of representation ensure that the for the house has to satisfy gender mainstreaming prerequisites and now increasingly climate these criteria, especially to do with gender mainstreaming. And then finally, Mr. Speaker, as we refer to all of this, the way that Mr. Speaker would try and push for the consideration stage to be done at a time of day when members can be present within the House, given the level of engagement that we've had with other civil society organizations and other stakeholders who are opinions of our members, members of our constituencies. Thank you very much.
Let me give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute and support this very motion to adopt the report has been presented. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill. Parliament to that when the affirmative action bill
was raised in this house. I support the report, and I also recommend this five of the report, which Mr. Speaker, this bill, if passed into law, address this in would make a better place to live in, because any efforts that break improve the health imbalances that definitely affect this differences in life expectancies in these two gender.
Thank you very much. I've given everybody who got up.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, let me say that to the deadline, finally, male colleagues have been inundated with questions and queries about what our parliament and our women as committee commend the leadership of parliament, commend Mr. Speaker and his two I also want to use this opportunity to seek support of our male colleagues. As you are already aware, so we can get this bill through. I'm hoping that they will appreciate that we are not a threat. Take over from them, but we are working in partnership with them to see a true reflection of our democracy. So passing this bill will enhance our standing within the international community.
Thank
and for this
you.
reason,
Thank you. Leader, you want to say something? Let me.
Speaker, for the record, let me thank out that we have real issues when it comes to women. The issues of sexual harassment, and you have to be in the shoes of women to understand that it is a real issue. We have to, like they say, you've been out too long, so
you no longer have a job. How do we address that? Mr. Speaker, it is also true that there are some of the challenges that cannot be addressed by simply this bill. And we must be pragmatic about it. I ask the question, income. For example, if it comes to contracting in other countries, it will be state at the highest level of that company that you have women at these levels. And then people will be forced to comply. So that we can get to where we want to be in terms of equality for women.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable members, let me thank all of you. Minister, do you want to say something? Minister, you've all said 73. Every moved and seconded and discussed all those members, the eye service. The motion listed 73 is hereby action. Bill 2024 is read the second time. Honorable members, I'm left to thank he's a Muslim, he has just been buried, and tomorrow is the final funeral rite. So my to his immediate successor, Honorable Masaud Baba.
Thank you. Masaud Baba was a member of parliament for the Pru constituency for the 4th and 5th Parliament of the Republic. Rahman and Madam Aishetu, both of blessed memory, at Yeji in the now certificate examination of the West African Examination Council as a science student. He proceeded to the University science degree as well as a diploma in education. On completion of his university education, our he still remembered by his students as
dedicated educator whose Baba Abdurrahman entered Parliament on the ticket of the National and served the good people of Peru for 2 terms. Our late colleague, the gentleman in his analysis, reflective of his scientific training, he brought to bear on his work sincere shied away from unnecessary publicity, but extremely active on committee work him for his contribution at committee, where the real back-breaking work of Parliament, his nature, he was not attention-seeking pattern. Will always be relied upon to be present in the chamber. My honorable senior, where your residence becomes an extension of the social welfare department. News got around that he was in Yeji. Honorable Abraman would pay the school kind of, and yet, as often is the case in our brand of politics, from his team when he fell on hard times as a result of illness. For the years, I was his companion, junior brother, notwithstanding his cooperative primaries. He was a good man and a committed Muslim. And it is now rest well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable members. Nobody is here to continue.
Yet another sad story of the passing of a former colleague and then replaced. Mr. Speaker, indeed, our colleague, based on the account of Honorable Governor concern of your constituents, it has become part of what we do. And well, we pray that more of his kind would emerge and serve their people.
Much. Majority leader.
Right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take this opportunity by honorable member who just passed. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to add my voice to the fact that in realize that even in this house, as we speak, nobody can even recollect what happened. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recommend that I went to Israel and then some statements are made in respect of that. So, that we re-look at this issue because we go through a lot of things in Parliament, and we can't just pass through without being noticed. So, to Parliament to look at this issue of remembrance for members of this House. Thank you, guys.
That Parliament will have to look at. I think when leadership meet, we have to discuss this matter. To eternity, rest in the bosom of Allah. Amen. There's nothing that we can discuss again. Just move a motion for adjournment.
Pardon? Oh, okay. Mr. Speaker.
I'm told we've done 4 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Speaker, in the absence of any further
I support the motion.
Very well. And members, we have started affirmative action. Are moved and all those in favor that this house be adjourned to honorable members. I'll take the